Hey you, thanks for stopping by to watch another speed build with me. I'm very excited to do that. It's gonna be a very long video, so grab yourself something nice to snack or to drink, get cozy, as I'm gonna tell you the story of how this build gave me like 5 headaches. I do think it was worth it in the end, but I've never had to deal with so many bugs. It was truly a pain. So you just saw me floating in that roof, and we all know the game doesn't deal too well with that sort of situation. And maybe I just shouldn't have even tried doing that, because from this point onwards, everything was so buggy. You're not gonna see a lot of it because I cut it out, but there was almost no object or wall that would properly function the way it should. I couldn't delete anything, especially the columns were a real pain to deal with, as I could only move them and sometimes move them to this little cell area that you get when you move things on the bottom of the screen. So deleting with the sledgehammer tool wouldn't work at all. But at some point, even moving it into selling it wouldn't work anymore. And there were just columns everywhere from me trying to move them around and get rid of them. Also, nothing would place properly, and there were visual glitches, like graphic glitches all the time, and it was just very annoying. And at some point, after placing and replacing, re-downloading from my own library, I decided that it was not gonna get better on this Evergreen Harbor, the waterfront lot. I feel like Evergreen Harbor is quite glitchy and buggy in general, so I thought it was just not gonna work, and I was very happy, relieved to see that when I placed it in San Myshuno, we're seeing it right now, everything worked fine. It did not bring the bugs over. I mean, I had to delete all the weird columns, and there were like 5 columns stacked on top of each other in like every column that you see right now. Same for the chimneys, it's very weird. But yeah, I got everything to work again. And I was debating whether or not to leave this lot in San Myshuno to like finish it. And I did not, but I do think it fits very well in here. So this lot is the old salt house in San Myshuno, where you've probably seen each and every warehouse / factory conversion build you've ever seen. And it's a beautiful lot, and as I said, feel free to place this here. The waterfront lot in Evergreen Harbor is a little bigger, so I am extending the I'm gonna call it a terrace for now. I did extend that to fill the other bigger lot, but you could definitely reverse that and then also just squish the exterior together a little more and definitely make it work if you wanted to play on this lot. Because having this in a city, like in an actual city center kind of place, would also suit this really well. But I wanted the big lot and I wanted the beautiful views, and I thought it made sense there, and we've seen a lot of builds on this lot, and I thought I would give Evergreen Harbor a little bit of love. So that's why I chose to put it back after I finished all the exterior and was kind of happy with how everything looked and ready to deal with some bugs again, although I did not encounter any further bugs when I moved this back. So, about this build. This is this is actually not a factory conversion. So patron voted for this. As you maybe know, I do a patron poll every month. I say this as if I've done it since the beginning of time, but I've done this for 3 months or something. But yeah, so this month, for October, patron voted for a warehouse/factory conversion. So that's what this was supposed to be. I'm now realizing that as I imagined this to be a shipyard, that's neither a factory nor a warehouse. I hope you will forgive me for that, as the aesthetic still matches, I'd say. Is a shipyard a factory? Shit. Now I am pondering. I'm gonna have to Google this real quick. I know I'm Googling a lot lately. But now I need to find out. Dear lovely Mrs. Google, if you haven't seen my video Wicked Other Hill, you'll be very confused about why I'm typing like this, but that's fine with me. Dear lovely Mrs. Google, what makes a factory a factory? Kisses, Bella. Sue me. Oh shit. I guess I did deserve to not get any proper result for this, but I'm gonna change this up a little bit. I will figure this out for us. If you started Googling this at the same time as me, you will have been way quicker, but also you're listening to me doing it, so that's entirely your own problem. A factory is a building or a group of buildings where goods are manufactured or assembled chiefly by machine. So do they have to be? They are assembled by, like, a ship is definitely assembled by machine. You know what? This is most definitely a factory. I don't even know why I got so insecure about that suddenly. Okay, so I've built the factory, the converted factory, as promised. And we're already back in Evergreen Harbor. So that's why I'm placing this ship right now. Wow, great timing, Bella. So this ship, I imagined, was still here when this couple of artists, or at least one of them is an artist. Oh my god, I'm so getting ahead of myself. But the entire second floor is actually a photo studio. So this couple of creatives bought this shipyard when it was about to, I don't know, be demolished, whatever happens to old shipyards. And they decided to turn it into their home and make it look really cool and really creative. And that's what I tried to do with it. So I imagined that this ship would have still been here from the times when this was used as a shipyard, and they decided to honor the history of this place and leave this ship as kind of this art installation slash history plaque slash chill out area. So that's why I'm adding these chairs on top and a table and some wine to make this a really unique hangout spot for you and your friends to feel really, really special while, I don't know, reading a book and drinking your wine and having a good conversation. And of course, talking about conversations, this would be a great conversation starter for everyone who came to visit you, for guests, and as you're gonna see me build the photo studio later, I was thinking that they would probably, or this photographer would probably host other creatives and clients, whoever those may be. So this would definitely be a a good conversation starter and just a fun thing to, I don't know, it's a very fun thing to have. Why am I even trying to explain to you in so many words why it's cool to have an old overgrown ship in your backyard? Not only is it obvious, but also why am I trying to sell you this? Well, I hope you like the damn ship. They also have a vegetable garden, and there's lots of perfect plants in there. You're very welcome. Obviously, you could take these all out and regrow them yourself, if that's what you want to do, or you can enjoy this harvest and then, I don't know, start over next season. However you want to do it. I wanted this to look urban and contemporary and like a space for creative, artsy, young, fun people. Like something you'd see in one of those shows or magazines or whatever, where they would go around and be like, look what these people did to this place. Isn't that nice? I don't know if like conversions were actually a trend, or maybe that's just a nice thing and everyone likes it. But I feel like it might have been a trend that died down just a tiny bit. But I hope, or I guess I see the loft aesthetic still thriving. So I guess you're gonna be fine watching this. I had a great time doing this kind of garden area. I don't really know if you could call it a garden, but it's very different from what I usually do with gardens. It looks kind of dry. I tried to embrace the surroundings instead of, I don't know, overturning them. I wanted to really lean into this notion of not changing a place until it fits you, but I don't know, I guess living with it. I'm not sure I'm making any sense, but I have this talk almost every voiceover I do. What I'm trying to say is I would want a place like this to be treated in a way that still embraced what it originally was, that respected its history and what it has to offer, and not make it something it's not, but work with what is there. What kind of made this whole thing hard was that I have this love-hate, this love-hate relationship with industrial interior design. I think it's very hard to do well, and it is tried a lot, probably because of this kind of trendy thing. And I love that so many people enjoy it, and that there's so many clear objects to buy for it. Like, it's very specific. Everyone can immediately tell when something is supposed to look industrial, and I feel like sometimes it's a tiny bit too much on the nose for me. So I feel like it's very hard, at least for myself, to find that middle ground and also still marry it all to my personal style and, you know, not make it look cliche. We will see if that worked out in the interior. But while I'm still outside, I know you've just seen this double swing and pillow on the right side combination in the very last build that I made. I'm sorry about that, but I really like this. I love the pillow on one of the swings. I don't know why that does so much for me, but I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to put this here. This was just a perfect place for a swing. Like, that's so dreamy. It's so dreamy, and I really like that this space was, or like, it's not a ceiling. This whole steel construction was even taller than the tall ceiling height because it gave me a great opportunity to make these swings a little bigger, so they're not usable as chairs anymore. So those are chairs. They came with tiny travelers. Great object, love it so much. But yeah, I thought it was just extra dreamy with them being so big. As in, everything in this space is supposed to make you feel tiny. I figured that's what people like about lofts and like high ceilings in these warehouse industrial kind of places so much. I'm not sure if I'm right about that or if that's me specifically, but I thought they really supported the vibe I was going for, these big swings. And then also just there's so much space everywhere in this build, inside and outside, and that's exactly how I wanted it to be. I wanted you to look at it and be like, wow, I could do an entire dance performance in this room and the next room and under the stars on the huge terrace. Oh, I forgot to mention, I actually thought about what this steel construction right outside was supposed to be, and I've been to a few shipyards in my life, but I definitely would not call myself an expert. Also, the ones I've actually been inside of were more almost community-owned workshops, I guess. So I do have a sailing license, and the ones I've actually seen have been for small, privately owned sailboats and motorboats. So again, I'm not an expert, but I thought that this whole construction outside was maybe to attach a crane or a rope or whatever like tools you needed to actually lift the boat and to get it inside, or to walk underneath it and put it onto wheels to move it around further, or get it to the nearest water, which is obviously promised right in front of this thing. But yeah, just so you can have a good night's sleep in knowing that I did not just randomly place those things there, but I thought about it for 20 seconds. We have moved on to the interior. This is a very open plan, as is I had to do that for my first loft. As I said, I really wanted to lean into it, so this also has lots of grays and browns downstairs on the ground floor and on the top floor, and also the studio floor. Studio as in photography studio. The first floor is a little different. It's very bright. It's very white and blue and very dreamy, airy. So I wanted this, the entirety of this, to still feel light and bright and easygoing, I guess. Just not too heavy. That's something I sometimes don't enjoy too much about industrial interior design, is that it looks a little heavy. Then again, I really loved putting these heavy brick features everywhere, made possible through Felixandra's colonial set, by the way. Beautiful. Okay, you're gonna need lots of CC and lots of pegs for this, by the way. Very sorry about that. If you'd like to know which ones, then you can check this out in the gallery. My ID is honeybellabuilds, or you can just click on the very first link in the video description, which leads to a Patreon post where it's all listed. Yeah, I just figured I haven't done that talk in quite some time, and if you're new, then you might not know. Okay, so I've put lots of brick details everywhere. They match so well with Harry's brownstone windows. They're so pretty. And I've made sure to use lots of brick and steel and plaster and then some wood to warm it up and make it still feel homely and livable, and also lots of fur rugs for the same reason. As for the layout, this is very open plan. It has 2 bedrooms total because the entire first floor is basically the primary suite, and it has 4 bathrooms, so it has one on every floor. On the ground floor, where we're at right now, it has a half bath and then a separate tub in another room. On the first floor, it has a huge primary bathroom, and on the third floor, there's the second bedroom, and that also has an ensuite. And then the third floor is the photo studio, and I've made sure that they could use this space as a home with the studio without it all being integrated in such a way that clients and models and stylists and all the people that need to be in a photo studio would not have to walk through the actual home. So it has 2 entrances and 1 set of stairs, and the individual floors are all separated from the stairs through walls and doors, so that all the people who are supposed to just go into the photo studio can just walk through, but then the people that actually live here can also use the same set of stairs to traverse the stories. I keep knocking things over today. I don't know what it is. So I also, you can tell, I've thought about this. I've put arrows in the staircase and also on the outside of the building. You might have noticed that it's a very big, glowing, lit arrow on the outside of the building that would tell clients where to go, which entrance to use, which parking spot. So there's basically a private facade and then a public facade of this building, and you could just tell whoever needs to go to the studio to follow the arrows, and they would enter in the right spot and then they would follow the stairs up to the actual studio. Okay, back to what we're seeing on screen. This is the living area. I've made this kind of conversation seating area and then another one that looks towards the TV, which is not any TV, it's the frame. I can't stop using this. You'll find one of these in almost all of my builds, I'm pretty sure. So this place has lots of seating in general, as it is so incredibly big and open plan. For example, the space that you can see to your right, and not anymore, the space that is between the dining area and the living area, in real life, I think I would have been glad to just leave that as it is, as some open space, which is something that's just very luxurious to have in a home. But in The Sims, it looked a little empty. So I'm also putting some seating there, which I do think looks great in the end, just something that I probably wouldn't have done in real life, I think, although I'm not really sure. I don't know. I've never done interior design for an actual place like this, obviously. But it's also nice to have lots of seating, so you can just plump yourself down anywhere in this huge house. If you're wondering about this beautiful custom content object that I was using just now, that is from the Florence set by Felix Andre. It is a kitchen rack. And I was really excited to see that in the Florence set, and then I never found the right build to use it in so far. And I've also still not used it as for its actual purpose, but it still fit really well into this build and felt really special. So I enjoyed that. That dining table is still fully functional, by the way. I tried it out. I love this brownstone table, but I feel like I've used it a lot lately, and I wanted to make it even more of a feature than it already is, and also make it really custom for this specific build. So I used the pallets that I had also used outside to make that bed on the terrace, which is also supposed to look kind of self-made, custom, industrial. You know the gist. So I was really surprised with how well that turned out. I really like how that looks, and that it's unique and kind of a callback to the terrace, which makes it more cohesive, and yeah, just worked out well. By the way, if you follow me on Tumblr, then you will have seen that bed already, as I've posted a sneak peek 2 days ago or something. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can check out my Tumblr. It's also in the video description. Yeah, I do post sneak peeks sometimes. I love to talk to you. And yeah, that's it basically. This is the infamous first floor. I'm very excited to hear what you think about this. I wanted it to look dreamy. I think I've overused that word, but dreamy and kind of washed out just a little bit, but in a good way, you know? I don't think this is a place for everybody. I don't think everyone would like to live in a place that feels this designy and stylized kind of. But I would, so if anyone wants to make that possible, just let me know. Also, I got to use the new Berlin objects. It's so beautiful. Almost cried looking at them. I'm so dramatic, but this is beautiful in the afternoon light especially, and evening light as well. It's just so nice to have these huge windows and all the sun come in, and my favorite flooring, which I do think feels very factory-like, although you probably wouldn't have wooden flooring in a shipyard where there's lots of water dripping off of things and destroying the wood. But let's ignore that for now, because it looks cool. I stole this trick of sizing up the CDs to look like LPs from Harry herself, and she used that in her factory. No, that's a warehouse conversion, the loft, which is also a great build and would fit very well with this one, if you ask me. I love the way the lighting looks in this room so much. I wish I would have gotten to do a video tour for this build, but I am extremely late in doing this build. I definitely overworked myself this week. I had 9.5 hours of footage for this, and it's been a really stressful week at work. So I just didn't get to do a video tour. That always takes a lot of time, but I took some really nice screenshots, so I hope that's gonna be fine for this video. Well, this is another custom bookcase. I really enjoy doing those lately. I don't know, I kind of acquired a taste for it when I did Bailey's Cloud Home, with that really big custom double-story bookcase, and now I can't stop putting them everywhere. Also, everything just looks so good in front of this wallpaper. It's the Journey to Batu one, I'm pretty sure. I wish it was a touch less yellow. I think it looks epic with the reshade. It's a little too warm without it, but I Also, just really recommend the reshade. I get a lot of questions about my reshade presets, by the way. I do put them in the description of every video, so I do change them up sometimes depending on what mood I'm going for or what lighting the world has. So if you ever want to know what I used for a specific build, then you can just check out the video description. And the ones I used for these screenshots and this video are the ones I use most commonly, I'd say, and they go really well with lots of worlds and lots of styles of build. And if you just want something that's like bright and really supports a nice light-filled home, then I would highly recommend this. Sometimes I accidentally turn off my reshade and it's shocking. I can barely take it. It's just very confusing to see my builds like that. So you're very lucky if you have a computer that can handle a reshade, because I would suffer playing it without any modifications. So this is the second working space. Theoretically, it's the first working space, but hierarchically, it's the second, because there's obviously a working space in the studio. So there's a desk there with, is there multiple desks? There's one desk, but multiple computers and laptops and screens for editing and the like. And this one is because I thought sometimes you wouldn't want to go up there where it's a little darker and the ceilings are a little lower, and you would just like to work right next to your bedroom and have all the light flood in all over your working space, your desk, and maybe your partner. So I had a couple in mind when I built this, and I thought if they worked from home, so the partner of the photographer worked from home sometimes as well, maybe they also have a creative job, maybe they're a writer, that would explain why they have so many books, or an editor or something. So maybe you'd sometimes like to share a working space with them and sit there together right after having breakfast in bed, and then you just move on over to your little office space and sit at one desk, basked in light, and a toilet nearby. So that's where we are right now. This is the primary bathroom. This door that I'm conveniently placing a shelf in front of right now is the door that leads to the fire escape. So this would be out of order. That's what I thought. So that's why they have this shelf in front of it, because it's not used anyway, and maybe you would like to hear something tumbling over in case someone breaks in. Not an actual problem in The Sims, but it made sense to me. I'm really happy I got to use this flooring that came with the organic collab. It's so freaking beautiful, and I've tried putting it in builds multiple times, but I also just haven't found the right one for it yet, and it looks gorgeous in here and it fits really well. The color of it is just perfect, and I was very happy to put that in this bathroom. And this is apparently the time where I suddenly realized that we got this industrial kit. I don't know why I didn't use this before. I thought it worked really well for these sort of, they're not architectural details, it's just tubing, basically, pipes. But yeah, that was really fun to use, and if I had noticed that a little sooner, I might have used more of it. But yeah, no, it's still a nice feature and offers some details in some otherwise maybe boring ceiling spaces. So very happy with that pack. I kind of completely forgot about it. We have entered the studio space, and if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing here, I can tell you I've thought about every single thing I've put in here, because if you didn't know yet, I used to be a professional photographer myself, and sometimes I really miss my studio. It looked nothing like this. Literally nothing. But I've also just been to some really cool studios, and I promise you everything in here makes sense, even if it may not seem like it. So for example, I've put lots of textures in here, which is just very convenient. It's nice to have all of those around if you need a different type of background for something. So if you did product photography, or to contrast a certain type of material or clothing or whatever. So I thought this person probably was specialized in fashion photography. Just made the most sense with this entire space, like the entire shipyard. And then just on top of the screen right now, you will see a glimpse of it from time to time. There's a changing room / bathroom, and I promise every single thing in here makes sense. I wish I had more time to explain everything. It just moves so fast. So this is the workspace of the photographer, where you would have clients and sometimes the model, and just depending on the situation, you'd probably want to show clients your photos, so they have the space on the opposite of the table, on the opposite side of the table. And there's one stool there because you usually have 2 comfy chairs, and then there's just more people than you expected. That's just the way it always goes. So every photo studio I've ever been to has been filled with kind of random seating. So there'd be chairs and stools and armchairs and sofas and ottomans and just every type of seating you can imagine. It's just very convenient for taking photos, and then also for having places for your clients to sit, because if you do an actual production, there'll be lots of people around, stylists who have to wait until you're done with one part of the shoot to then restyle, and clients who want to see if everything goes the way they imagined, and models, and sometimes multiple models who will also have to wait their turn. So often there's lots of people who you want to have a comfy place to sit for, and then also lots of screens, so everyone can see what you're seeing in real time. And that's especially important for stylists, who can then see the one hair out of place or the one wrinkle in the fabric that doesn't look right from your perspective. So that's why there's so many screens down there. And we've already moved on into the guest bedroom. This could also be for a teenager. I know that's something I always say, but if I want to furnish a sophisticated second room, then I always say it's for a teenager. That's my solution. Another situation that would make sense to me is if this photographer maybe had an assistant or something they worked closely with a lot of the time, and they would then often stay the night, because like choosing photos and editing can take a long time, and I'm someone who, if they are really focused on something, I can definitely spend the night doing that thing, whatever it may be. And I used to stay up all night choosing and editing pictures. So I thought it would make sense to have this guest bedroom that is maybe unofficially just this other assistant or whatever, this other person's bedroom, because oftentimes you just don't want to go home in the middle of the night, especially if you're just gonna go back the next day to keep working in the same space. I wish I could ramble on about this a little longer, but as this is the last room that I'm furnishing, I hope you really enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed watching it with you. Let's do this again next week. Bye bye.